New cards day. You know what that means. It's time for some scalding hot takes. Let's read these cards. First of all, we fight for the hat. We fight for the hat. That is actually RTT in the art, so anyway. Um, Captain 6 cost, action, duration. Now and at the start of your next turn, play a non duration action card from the supply costing up to 4, leaving it there. Okay. So initial takes. Yeah, it's like Band of Misfits, but if you reduce the cost of stuff, this isn't affected by this. So like you could play this as King's Court if you had a couple of bridge like 3 bridge trolls in play. You could use this to play a King's Court. So that's a thing. Um there's some interesting rules things because this I presume it says non-duration action card specifically because you played it as a duration, then things get a little weird. But because you can, like, say, play it as a throne room, which then plays a duration, and that throne room would normally stay out, but it's still in the supply, it's. Anyway, whatever. I don't know how that works out. Probably it's fine. It doesn't stay out, but you still get the double of the effect of the thing for the next turn, and you get this for the thing for the next turn. It won't affect how this stays out unless it's something that would stay out for more than one more turn, so like Archive or Hireling, and that all requires cost manipulation shenanigans, I think. Maybe there's some cheaper one, Champion, I think. But, well, no, Champion isn't in the supply, of course, so whatever. Anyway, um, yeah, how good is it? Well, it costs 6. 6 is a lot. Um, Band of Misfits costs 5. It isn't a very good 5. And this is most comparable to that, so you think it's not very good, except, um, like the next turn benefit is a big deal because you get effectively cantrip plus that card. And it could be 2 different cards if you want, right? So you could do a village now and then Smithy at the start of next turn, right? Something like that. And so if you think about it that way, Smithy at the start of next turn is like playing a hunting grounds at the start of the turn, and you still have an action. So that's very good. That's very good. Um, the one comparison that I did see, which was like right next to where the cards were initially revealed to me, was if you play this on Silk Merchant, both times it's exactly like Wharf, um, which is good, but not maybe as good as you would think. Um, so playing it the first turn is just going to be like playing the card the first turn, which is going to be lackluster, but the second turn is going to be very strong. And, like, in particular, being able to find either Village or Smithy when both of those are going to be available, I think is going to be quite strong. It's because it can be whatever you need. So that's good. But it does cost 6, which is a lot and a lot of opportunity cost. And I think you need to have good targets and maybe multiple good targets for it to be particularly good. Because the other problem you're going to run into is like the Band of Misfits problem, which comes up sometimes. The Pyro runs out, this thing's out of luck because this thing's not an option anymore. Um, I wonder how it works with Treasure Map. Anyway, when there are like multiple good options that are all cheap, this card is probably excellent, particularly when there's at least some draw and at least some non-terminal so that this can act like a village. I mean, yeah, if it's on draw, it's also kind of acting like a village, but um, yeah, it can be good, but I think overall, the amount of times where there are too few really great targets and too few, um, especially particularly great targets that won't run out, are going to mean that this card is, while good and in some cases really great. It's going to be very board dependent, and overall, it's not going to be like a power six. So, like, certainly, I can't expect it to be better than Goons. Goons is kind of absurdly broken, but my guess is like if you compare to Alter, I probably usually rather have Alter. I guess a lot of the sixes um, aren't that great to start with. So like compared to nobles, this could easily see be better, I think. So kind of difficult to see, but like especially compared to the fives, and say, is it a thing that I really want to hit six on turns three and four for? Probably not. But if I'm trying to draw my deck with like village and smithy kind of stuff, then having a couple of these, like one each turn, sounds really nice. Um, Assuming that again it has targets that are all cheap. But okay, enough about Captain and the scalding hot take there. Let's move on to Church. Church is another action duration, costs three. It's non-terminal, gives plus an action. It says set aside up to three cards from your hand face down. Okay. Other things that set aside, do they specify face to whatever? At the start of your next turn, put them into your hand. Then you may trash a card from your hand. So it's a non-terminal trasher, and it trashes from your hand, it only but it trashes one card. So let's think about it like a forager. It trashes slower than forager because it's going to miss shuffles, basically, and it doesn't give you money like forager usually eventually does. So that's a couple of negatives. Um, I wonder if this stays out. Do you Does it stay out if you set zero cards aside? I don't know. Like, can you still trash a card if you don't want to set any cards aside? Unclear to me. But okay, let's go back to the Forager comparison. Because it's a three-cost non-terminal trasher, right? From hand. Um, so it makes less money. It generally basically seems worse. It doesn't give you plus buy. Um, so it mostly seems worse than Forager, except you can do a little bit of um, manipulation of your price points. So if you really want to hit six or seven early on, then Church is going to be better than Forager because let's say you open Silver Church. If you hit Church on turn three, you can set aside just the maximum amount of money, punt your turn three by. So you're going to set aside usually three to four money, and then you're going to be very likely to hit six on turn four, and you have a reasonable chance of hitting seven, right? Let's say you set aside three coppers, then you just need to see either four coppers or silver copper copper. You set aside silver copper copper, you just need to see three coppers. So it's going to be one of the best ways to hit seven early. Let's say you want to hit Spike Inheritance. There aren't that many other sevens that you really want to spike. Maybe Forge, that are like super important early plays. So it can do that also. So that's another thing to work out, and I haven't done the math on it. But obviously, it's going to be a lot worse on turn four than turn three. Like Adam always talks about, tan and orange cards. Be careful, especially early. But the other thing is, it's this trasher early, and then towards the end of the game, what it can do. Well, first of all, even early. Let's say you open Church, you can probably thin while still hitting five. Reasonably likely to hit five and thin in a state. So that's probably actually not that bad. And then towards the end of the game, it helps with reliability a lot because you can just seed into your next hand. And first of all, it's extra cards, but let's say an extra village, or maybe even an extra village and a draw card. So I actually think this is going to be pretty good, and overall might be better than Forager, particularly because part of the problem with Forager is that early on, um, while it can give you money, it necessarily might not. So I think it's probably going to be a little bit better than Forager even overall on the merits. And yeah, I mean, there's going to be situations where you prefer Forager for sure. There's going to be situations where you prefer this, but I think overall a little bit better than Forager. But that's probably your biggest comparison. Um, yeah, I wonder if opening this how likely you are to hit six. Set aside three coppers. So you need to see three more coppers. Probably not super likely to hit it on turn 3, 4, but it's worth doing the math on. Anyway, I think these are both good cards, not fantastic cards. I think they're going to be in a good power level. Um, you're going to play with them a lot, but there's going to be certainly skippable some of the amount of time. Captain is going to be a lot more board dependent, I think. Church also board dependent because if there's just other strong trashing, it's probably going to be better. That other stuff is going to be better, but like the courtyard effect of smoothing your money is even okay in money. Um, and yeah, I think you're going to open with this card most of the time. Maybe not two copies, maybe just one, but it is going to be a thing where turn 3 to 4, it's going to be a big difference. You're going to be sad some of the times, but that doesn't necessarily mean you don't do it. Like amulet, right? You usually open with at least one amulet and often two. Anyway, this is the scalding hot takes, and some slightly cooler off takes after I've played with these cards will probably come somewhere further down the line. But for now, comment, leave questions, tell me how stupid I am, what I'm missing, all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, we'll catch you later. Thanks for watching.